Is that foolish? I mean, everybody studies arithmetic and knows numbers. There isn't anybody who's been to school for more than a couple of days, or even before they go to school, that they know what 1 is. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, that has to be restricted.
And therefore, there's no reason to study something that everybody already knows.
It does seem really odd.
Yeah, good. So look here. Then these two appear to be 2. And each appears to be distinct from the other. Each appears to be 1, both 2. Each appears separate. But if each is 1, then together they're 2. But if there's something about that that's inseparable, then it's 1 and not 2. Wait a minute. Is it possible that there's something about these two? Is it possible that there can be something about these two quite distinct professions? That's one? If so, then you must look for the oneness, certainly not in the way they're functioning or their descriptions. But this is the heart of Plato's Republic, because his philosopher king is called a guardian, a soldier. He says, hey, you know what? Our guardian is soldier and philosopher in one. Now look here. Where do you find the oneness in that? Where do you find the oneness in that? Ms., help out, please. What? Oh, the ampersand. Right in there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But look here. You can't see it. You have to come to it by some process. If you say that the philosopher, see the way he expresses it, the guardian is, well, I can even give you a very fine quote for it. The way he expresses it is just a delight. For a soldier must learn them, numbers, in order to marshal his troops, and a philosopher because he must rise out of the region of generation and lay hold on essence, or he can never become a true reckoner. That's so. And then he comes back. And our guardian is soldier and philosopher in one. In the Loeb, it's 163, it's 525b. Now look what he's saying now about it. It is fitting then, Glaucon, that this branch of learning should be prescribed by our law, and that we should induce those who are to share the highest functions of the state to enter upon that study of calculation, that's that way of reasoning with numbers, and take hold of it not as amateurs, but to follow it up until they attain to the contemplation of the nature of number by pure thought. Not for the purpose of buying or selling, as if they're preparing to be merchants or hucksters, but for the uses of war and for facilitating the conversion of the soul itself from the world of generation to essence and truth. He says, now what kind of numbers are you talking about?
That's what I was going to ask.
Well, I asked it first. All right.
You were reading my mind.
Like, what kind of number? What are you talking about? Well, he says, in what respect? Why, in the respect of the very point to which we're speaking, that it strongly directs the soul upward, compels it to discourse about pure numbers, never acquiescing if anyone prefers to it in the discussion of numbers attached to visible and tangible things. So we will not talk about number in respect to any tangible or visible thing. First rule. Second rule. For you are doubtless aware that experts in this study, if anyone attempts to cut up the one in argument, laughs at him and refuses to allow it. But if you mince it up, they multiply, always on guard lest the one should appear to be not one, but a multiplicity of parts. We're not going to talk about the one, therefore, in terms of any multiplicity of parts. It has to remain pure and whole. Second rule. Most true. So suppose now, Glaucon, someone were to ask them, my good friends, what numbers are these that you're talking about, in which the one is such as you postulate, each unity equal to every other, without the slightest difference and admitting of no division into parts? He said, what do you think they'll answer? They said, this, I think, that they're speaking of units which can only be conceived by thought, and which it is not possible to deal with in any other way. It's this branch of study really seems to be indispensable for us, since it plainly compels the soul to employ pure thought with a view to truth itself. Now let me give you a slight shift now. All right? Let me talk about this for a moment. Let us say they are some good things. All right, there are some good things. I'll mention a couple, you can do the same. Health, I call that a good thing, is it not? All right. Intelligence can be a good thing. Wealth. And you can add any number right after this. All right? One of the ancient problems, I'm going to sneak it in here, and I hope it doesn't upset anybody. All right? All right. Let's look at these words. Would you agree that, now I'm going to let you use any one of these words, I'm going to talk about them in general for a moment, that there is something about them that we're calling good, right? That's what we said. There's something about them we're going to call it good. Right? Would you not agree? Each one of these seems to produce something that we recognize. It's a kind of wholeness. Right? Because take wealth. If I take the wealth that I have and disperse it widely, randomly, well, it doesn't come together. It can't be bound together. It can't have any wholeness. Health. There's some kind of wholeness. Even if you're talking about good food, there's some kind of wholesomeness about it, wholeness about it. That's that ness problem, isn't it? Well, if the good is that